the very thing that's keeping you stuck isn't because you don't know anything at all to become a singing teacher, but because you're waiting to know everything you can before you do. Have you ever wanted to follow through with becoming a singing teacher, but just feel underprepared, overwhelmed, or just stuck in how to even get started? Or maybe you've been teaching singing for a while now with your own business, but just feel a little stuck in indecision. Or maybe your energy just doesn't feel aligned with the work that you're currently doing. Well, we're unpacking some of these things on today's episode, talking about how getting involved in a little thing called the 5-day challenge could be the very thing that helps to reset and realign you to help you move forward. BAST founder Lynn Hilton is here to tell us all about it. Lynn, in your working life, what tends to be the thing that gets you the most stuck or feeling overwhelmed?
Oh, what a very timely question, because that's how I'm feeling right now. It's usually because I have overcommitted and I've taken on a whole bunch of extra work on top of what I'm normally doing. And instead of saying, no, I can't do that, I say, yeah, sure, I can do that. So quite often that will get me stuck. And at the moment, I'm a little bit stuck on something because I tend to over-research things and I can't make decisions. So not only did I have to make a whole bunch of decisions about kitchen appliances and other things because I had a new kitchen put in, but at the same time I was writing a totally new presentation on breath management, which is actually for clinicians and practitioners who are interested in performing arts medicine. And so I have to go and read every single paper that exists and do every bit of research. And I find myself then getting stuck with, well, what should I put into the presentation? What shouldn't I? How do I tie it all together? And then I don't do anything because it just seems all overwhelming. So that's where I am right now.
Thinking back to when you were starting out as a singing teacher, what was the most overwhelming thing in that regard?
Oh, in the beginning, I think after I got over my initial how to actually do this, how to actually teach someone, I then started to get frustrated about not knowing how to build my business and how to get onto marketing, without employing a sales company or buying lots of expensive adverts. Back in those days, people would advertise in the Stage or local papers, and they were expensive. And I was like, I can't do that every week. I can't afford it, but I need to have more students. And I didn't know where to get started and how to go about building up the business, and because I knew that that's what I wanted to do. So that probably preoccupied me quite a bit back then, as well as, wanting to make sure that I didn't do any harm, that I was giving the right information, that I was helping people. That always, I think, preoccupies many a singing teacher or many a teacher, full stop. Always worry about what you're saying or doing. Is it right, or is it going to cause problems for somebody? And look, the reality is occasionally you do. I mean, I still feel like sometimes I'm not quite sure about what I'm saying. It's my latest reading or research or the last, who someone I've respected has said, and I'll repeat it, but I don't always know for absolute sure because I haven't necessarily seen it with my own eyes. So I get preoccupied with things like that too.
We previously talked about barriers. And by the way, Lynn, if you feel like you need an episode to watch about how to put your boundaries in and say no to some of the commitments that maybe you've overcommitted to, then we'll put that episode in the show notes for you. I think it was even with you.
It might have been.
So take your own bloody advice.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah. But you speak to a lot of singers who would like to become singing teachers, whether that's coming onto the BAST course. And I'm interested to know the commonalities there in what tends to bog them down in the beginning.
Definitely confidence about Do they know enough? I feel that there's a lot of singers out there when I'm talking to them that will say things like, well, I don't know anything about teaching. I don't know anything about voice. I don't know anything about how to teach someone how to sing. And I need to know it all before I can start teaching. So there's this common belief that you need to know everything before you can start teaching or charging to teach. Imposter syndrome. I literally every time I take a call from a singer who's interested, they'll say, I feel like a bit of an imposter. And then when we start to unwrap it, I'm sitting there going, why would you feel that way with all the experience you've got and all the other things that you've done? And you've got so much to bring. Yes, okay, you may not know exactly how to teach someone how to sing more accurately from a technical point of view, but you still have a lot of knowledge and experience to share, and that will be valuable to somebody. So I think it's lack of self-belief, lack of confidence, and to a certain degree, lack of knowledge keeps them stuck.
If I think back 9 years ago when I first decided to explore the singing teaching route, the things for me that made me feel quite overwhelmed was, yes, not knowing enough, but also that there was so much information to sift through and where to actually find it. And you would find yourself in this pit of knowledge, but actually then going, I still don't know anything because there's so much to go through, as well as noise from online forums, some of which aren't the friendliest of places to be, but others you just need to find your home and gravitate towards like-minded people. How the blithering heck to get started, because I suddenly realised, well, I only know my own voice, and even then, do I know that very well? Because I didn't know there were all these wonderful parts of it. And as you mentioned, the marketing side, no clue, didn't do any business sort of things at college. I started on a philosophy A level, soon had to drop that to do my performing, and did English. There was nothing in it that was anything to do with being an entrepreneur or a solo trader.
Yeah, and even in my degree, which I did, yours might be the same. We didn't cover that side of things, and my degree was in commercial music. We talked about label, how much labels made and artists made, but they didn't really talk about how you go about finding a gig.
So when you do feel this particular overwhelm, other than avoidance, what do you find makes you feel reset and restored in your life in general? And then also from the business point of view, how do you reset yourself there?
One thing that helps me a lot is doing guided meditation, just clearing my mind, because when my brain starts to get crammed full of this stuff, it can't think straight. And so I'm not very productive and I do procrastinate. So I will do meditation, guided meditation. I love the app Insight Timer. There's lots of different types of meditations and talks, therapies and methodologies and different ways and different teachers that you can choose from. A lot of it's free. So I just start with that. Like this morning I had to do one, which was literally 5 minutes just before I got on with the day, just to center me and to find gratitude as well, because sometimes it's easy to forget that actually it's really great. You've got these problems. It could be worse. And grateful too for just what I do have, the stuff I have done. So doing a meditation or mindfulness to clear the brain, going for a walk, and then something which I'm sure I've spoken about before, journaling or writing, morning pages, that comes from The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron, where you literally just write for 3 pages, stream of conscience. And I've made some of my biggest seismic shifts in business by doing that. Because there's so many ways you can go in your business. And how do you get started? And even if you've got a great idea, how do you then do whatever needs to be done to make that happen? And so journaling really helped me to do that. So I'd get all these ideas, all these thoughts, all these doubts, everything on paper so that it was out of my brain. And that's how BAST training really came about. I knew that I wanted to do something bigger and have a license course and reach more international levels, but I had no idea how to do that. And I also had no idea what kind of structure the business would have or what I would be offering. And I journaled, and it was about 3 weeks down the track. And suddenly I woke up one morning and I had it all clear in my head. This is how it's going to look. This is how it's going to be delivered. This is what's going to be on the course. All of that sort of came together really quite easily. I felt very sure that it was because I'd done this journaling and morning pages for 3 weeks that my brain actually got to the place where it could figure this out.
So it's not staying up till 4 a.m. doing book nook crafting and listening to Richard Osman on your Audible.
Well, that helps me chill out. Yes. Actually, that is another thing, quite valid. Because so much of my work is online or on the computer, I now do listen to Audible. It's creative and I love sort of science fiction, fantasy kinds of content. But rather than sit down in front of the television, I just put on a book and I might do a little bit of cleaning or, folding my clothes or the sort of the mundane things that you can do whilst listening to an audio. And I find that really helps my brain relax. And I usually do that before I go to sleep as well.
The idea of this resetting and refocusing is actually where things like a 5 day challenge comes in. So, for anyone listening who might not know what a 5 day challenge is, can you describe it for us?
Well, the way that we run it is you come together with a group of other people for 5 days, and we run it through Facebook at the moment. And there's a bunch of different tasks that you do each day, various live talks that we deliver and Q&As to help you really focus in on a particular topic or area that you want to work on. And we tend to run the same one, which is about getting started as a singing teacher, figuring out who you are, what you bring to the table, who would your ideal kind of student be, how would you go about accessing them, finding them, how do you price yourself, so it suits them, and how do you get started with teaching? What are the important things you need to know? So we do this various activities, various talks, and obviously answer any questions that people have in that 5 days. It's actually longer than 5 days in the end because there's lots of stuff that happens before and a little bit that happens after as well. But the key aspect of the 5 day challenge happens Monday to Friday.
Have you done a 5 day challenge yourself?
Oh, yes, it's how I sort of found out about how 5 day challenges work. So, Phil Harrison, who's now my business coach, he used to run regular 5 day challenges. And it was all about how a business can build a list and more customers and make more sales through 5 day challenges. So I did Phil's 5 day challenge, which helped me to identify who my avatar was, what kind of activities I could do on my 5 day challenge, and a whole bunch of different research that I did as a result of that. And then the next one I did was with Susan Payton, who wrote the book, The Business of Stories, and has 5 day challenges around that. And I just find them really useful because they're not onerous, that you just spend maybe an hour each day doing the activity, but it stimulates your brain and just makes you think about things you hadn't thought about and kind of forces you to sit down and do the necessary background activities and research to figure out the stuff you need to do in order to, whatever the topic is. Both of them were very successful from the point of view of doing their job because after the 5 day challenge that I did with Phil, I then got involved with another program that he offered, And then eventually I got onto his mastermind. And the mastermind, that's a massive thing, because I work with other entrepreneurs, including Susan Payton, and we go away every 4 months and sit and talk about business. He helps us with what the next steps are. And I wouldn't have done that. And I suppose from a business point of view, it's proven for me that it works, because as a result of the 5 day challenge and then gradually sort of more and more involvement with Phil, I got to that stage where now, I'm with him as a client paying, quite high monthly fee to do that. And with Susan, the same thing. After her 5 day challenge, I went into her course so that I could really start to understand how I can use stories to talk about our business. Unfortunately, in terms of that, I still haven't actually done a lot with the material that I've started to put together with Susan's course, but it was really invaluable in helping me to get it together. Right now, I'm in a position where so many other things have taken precedence that I'm not focusing on the marketing side as much. So it'll be very good for me running a 5 day challenge because it'll force me to make sure that I'm doing the things that I need to do for my business.
Maybe as someone who's in your position who maybe did a 5 day challenge with us before, but then hasn't taken the next steps or feels they might need to have another little recharge, can they come and do it again?
Of course, yeah. And sometimes I'll pop into Susan's 5 day challenge just to go and do the activities and, motivate myself. And also, you can get quite stimulated being with other people who are on a similar journey to you. And also in the lives, there's always new questions, different questions. And quite often, a challenge will have new, different things that get brought up, as things change and time moves on and things evolve.
Why do you think that a short, focused challenge particularly suits singers who want to become singing teachers?
Well, the way that this one's set up is to help those people who've been unsure or lacking confidence or the self-belief that they actually have something that they can offer to a student. And it just very quickly helps people recognize what they do have because of the activities that we get you to do. And it really makes you sit down and think about what your experience, your current qualifications, your interests, all of that, how that can feed in to helping a student who would then actually pay for you to teach them. We also help people understand better what's entailed in becoming a singing teacher, because some people, it's a little bit mysterious. They may not have had a huge amount of experience themselves, or they've had lessons, but they've never thought about what it takes to be a teacher. So it's free, the challenge itself is free. So all that you're paying really is your time. But if this is something you're really interested in and serious about incorporating into your career or into your work life, then a few hours over a period of 5 days is probably going to be really valuable, even if at the end of it you realize it's not for you, or maybe it's just not for you right now.
We could also argue that even if you have been a singing teacher for a little bit, but you're not too sure where you're headed, or you've tried out lots of different clientele, but you're not sure how to really follow a particular path, that coming to do a 5 day challenge would still be useful because it can sort of, as we said, reset and get you focused in on what you might want for the next bit of your journey.
Oh, yes, we've had quite a few people who are already teaching for a while come and do the 5 day challenge because it's helped them to niche down a little bit more and identify who they really want to be teaching. Because, sometimes, especially in the beginning, we take on students just because they're asking, for lessons, or we feel like we have to, or because, it brings in the money. And then after a while, you realize, oh, I'm not really teaching the sort of people I want to teach. And you might not really have identified who that person might be or those people might be. And then the other thing is that how do you actually communicate that out, in terms of your marketing? So we've definitely had people who've come on and done it, the 5-day challenge, purely just to, as you said, reset and reconfigure what their private practice looks like and the kind of people that they want to attract into
Hi,
it. So,
it's Lynn
yes, it
here,
can
popping
definitely
by
be
with a
helpful in
free
that way.
resource.
What
If you're a
kind of
singer
shift
who
might
wants to
someone
teach but
feel or
sometimes feels a
notice by
little
the end of the
unsure or
5-day
overwhelmed,
challenge, do you think?
I've put together some free
Well, in the
resources to help
past,
you feel
I've heard
grounded and supported as you
participants
take
say
your next
that
steps. Just
they
check the
feel
link in the
clearer
podcast
about
description
the
and you'll
direction
get
they
an
want to take
informed,
their
practical
teaching
PDF guide to help you
and
get started.
more confident
Plus,
that
a
actually
few follow-up
they've got
resources to
something
help
that
you
they
feel
can
less
charge
of a
for,
fraud
and also
and
what
more
kind of
confident in
fees
your teaching
to
journey.
charge. And given that it's free, it's, I think, really brings a lot of value to a person if they can even come up with one of those things at the end of the week. So yes, it's definitely helps people get more clarity, more confidence, and a plan as well, on how to actually instigate it all. And in fact, I just came off a call this morning with somebody who did the challenge in March last year, and she said up until that point, she'd sort of taught 3 people who were mainly her relatives. And she's had, since then, after implementing the stuff that we talked about, she's taken on 18 new students. And now she feels she's ready to find out more. And so she was doing the call because she was interested in the foundation course. And there was such great feedback because so much of the stuff that we put out, including this podcast, you've got no idea who it's landing with and for and how it's helping them. So it was wonderful to get that feedback.
There's also quite an exciting element in the form of a special offer. So can you tell us about that?
Yes, so obviously anybody who comes and does the challenge, we want to reward them, and we usually put a very comprehensive package together that helps anyone who's been thinking about doing the foundation course or the level 5 course, where we give an extra discount, that you might not have normally. And usually there's extra goodies packed in there as well in terms of content and resources and so forth. And we also run a competition during the week where we give away a prize to somebody who's been participating and contributing during the week.
So some of our listeners might have already seen on social media, but we have a 5-day challenge coming up really soon. So when does it all kick off?
So this challenge starts on Monday, February the 23rd. That's day 1, though people will probably get into the group earlier just to get orientated to what happens. So everything's done through Facebook. And if you're not on Facebook at the moment, you can just come on a temporary basis and then take yourself off again afterwards. But unfortunately, that's the only way we can deliver the 5-day challenge at the moment. Then you get daily tasks, which get emailed to you and also posted in the Facebook group with links to their workbook and any videos with instructions. And the lives are done in Facebook, usually in the evening around 7 o'clock with myself or Kaya. And then, of course, you will be popping in too to pop in your wisdoms and remind people of various podcasts that might be helpful to them. And then we end on the Friday with the prize being announced and all the offers as well.
It sounds great. So if any of our listeners want to join, then just a reminder, you can find the link in the show notes and register that way. And we look forward to seeing you there. So Lynn, what are you off to do now?
Well, I'll be getting back to my presentation that I've been procrastinating around for several weeks. Yes, so that's me.
Well, good luck and I'll see you soon.
Thanks. Bye.
Hey you! If you're enjoying the Singing Teachers Talk podcast, then don't forget to hit the subscribe button. We are committed to bringing you engaging conversations and valuable insights from experts across the field of voice. By subscribing, it means we can continue to do that. You'll never miss an episode, and you'll be helping to spread the word to other singing teachers, vocal coaches, and overall voice nerds. So subscribe to this channel now and just watch your teaching grow.